This video is brought to you by Blessed Be God Boutique, maker of Catholic fashionable apparel, handmade accessories, and more. We have more news showing that the prelates in the hierarchy of the church have in large part lost the faith and are seeking to replace the Catholic faith with the secular value system that is being pushed on us by the world, that we're being asked to accept. The German synodal way is lurching forward in the coming week to continue to push apostasy, while a high-ranking Vatican cardinal is now publicly calling for Catholics to ignore the heresies coming out of Germany and to be nice to the German bishops. Seriously. All of this while one of the Pontifical Academies, established by John Paul II to oppose the servants of Moloch and their satanic ritual, endorses the biggest victory they had in Italy. All of this leaves anyone sensible in the church asking themselves if there are very many good prelates left who have the spine to oppose these errors. We have word from one bishop that the laity should pray for the liberation of the church from these wicked men. But let's explore these stories together so we can actually, get motivated to pray for this liberation from evil in the church. So let's turn our attention to what I have to call apostate Rome, where the head of the Synod on Synodality is calling for everyone to stop being so mean to the German bishops. Just be nice to them, even though they are openly embracing heresy and threatening schism. Seriously. Headline from the Catholic News Agency. Vatican cardinal decries criticism of German quote-unquote synodal way as quote-unquote denunciation. Ah yes, denunciation. We can't have heresy being denounced now, can we? Not in the Church of the New Advent, not in this springtime in the Church, as we keep being told about these past several decades. I haven't seen much of a springtime, seems more like a deep, dark winter. But what has gotten this cardinal so upset? Well, see for yourself. From the article, quote, the chief organizer of the Catholic Church's Synod on Synodality has decried as denunciation the number of public criticism of the German synodal way. Cardinal Mario Grech said he did, quote, not agree with the method used by the critics of the German process in an interview with the German publication Herr der Thema. The Secretary General for the Synod of Bishops added that he disapproved of the style. I think a fraternal correction and dialogue is very positive, but why a public denunciation? It doesn't help. It only polarizes further. Grech also said he could not say why there was this criticism of the process. CNA Deutsch, CNA's German language news partner, reported. End quote. All right, in all charity, I'm going to see if I can help His Eminence understand why there is so much criticism of the German synodal way. And yes, I denounce the German synodal way. Let me know in the comments if you denounce the German synodal way. And why should we do that? Well, to answer your question, Cardinal Grech, it's because the German synodal way is openly promoting heresy. If you need proof that the hermeneutic of continuity that we've been told about so much is nothing more than pious-sounding nonsense, that's it right there. The German synodal way is promoting in a top-down way with the full-throated support of the laity, changing the church's teaching on that topic that Pastor Jimmy Martin of the Jesuit Church has just an unhealthy interest in. He really does, especially for a priest. They seek to open the door to the sacrament of holy orders to women. They openly profess and have already begun giving out the Eucharist to non-Catholics. This made the news several times. The German bishops argue for priestless parishes, laity giving the homilies on Sunday. In other words, they argue for the values of the world to be brought into the church and have a willingness to go into schism, to give the world what it wants. Disregard what Christ taught, disregard what our Lord wants. And they don't only argue for it, they've already got plans in the works to institute these things. This isn't just mean words, Cardinal Grech. There's a reason for it. But here's the thing. Cardinal Grech is one of the men on the short list thought to be a Francis II. Yes, he's considered papabile, which is just Vatican speak for being seen as worthy of the College of Cardinals to get chosen by his peers to become Pope. Think about that. Politics is going into what Cardinal Grech is saying here, almost certainly. Politics of the nastiest kind. If you saw Francis walking through the holy doors as the first presumed pontiff to open the holy doors and walk through them in over 700 years earlier this week, you saw him appearing as less than the ideal physical condition, for a pontiff. When John Paul II appeared like that, the modernists called for him to resign. Francis is hearing those calls now. They're coming in from Catholic media, and they're reverberating through the halls of Rome. And rumor has it that he may actually oblige the cardinals, especially if he manages to pull off appointing his own successor. There are ways he can do that. Keep an eye on the news for that one. But Cardinal Grace really just doesn't get it. The German Synod is fine, apparently, according to modernist Rome. Maybe a little excessive, according to Francis's official head of the Synod on Synodality. From that same article, quote, he, Cardinal Grace, said he tried to follow the German event. But for me, it's one thing to follow what gets published and another thing to follow what is really going on. It's a process. Maybe the communication in general could have been handled better, the Cardinal said. This would have contributed to a better understanding of what was happening in Germany. Nonetheless, he said he had confidence in the Catholic Church in Germany and that the bishops know what they are doing. Actually, they do know what they're doing. More recently, another organizer of the German process said that the synodal way wanted to change the Church's teachings on the James Martin sin by proposing a conscience statement against the current Catholic catechism. In the statement published in July, the Vatican repeated a passage from the Pope's letter published in 2019, where Francis had warned in German of particular churches being, quote, separated from the entire ecclesial body, adding that in such instances they would weaken, rot, and die, end quote. That was Francis's way of saying, don't go into schism, guys. Now, some strong language coming from apostate Rome. The thing about all of this is that Rome doesn't actually object to the new direction taken by the German bishops. Rome objects to Germany doing it without Rome's approval. They've been told to wait for the entire synod on synodality worldwide to wrap up next year. It's scheduled to wrap up in October 2023, and given that, it makes it sound like Francis plans to institute whatever madness the German bishops are pushing. And the key is that the vast majority of the synodal reports coming in from around the Western world, including right where I'm at in the United States of America, all call for doing exactly what the German bishops are calling for. Hence why I've been calling it apostate Rome. Another reason I call it apostate Rome is that the Pontifical Academy for Life's current head, Archbishop Paglia, has said that Italy liberalizing what I have to call the Moloch ritual is part of the social fabric of that country. With prelates like these who really need enemies outside the walls of the institutional church. Part of the social fabric of Italy. From Marate Celi, who summarized his talk, quote, asked about Italy's Moloch ritual law yesterday on Italian public television network Rai 3, Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia, president of the Pontifical Academy for Life, said the following, quoting him directly, I think that the law 194, the law that liberalized the Moloch ritual in Italy, is now a pillar of our social life. And when asked, is it not up for debate? Paglia replied, but no, absolutely not, absolutely not. End quote. It's absolutely not up for debate, huh? The head of the Pontifical Academy for Life stated that. Just think about the implications of that for a while. Take all the time you need. Of course, Archbishop Vigano had a field day with Paglia's statement. In a letter that I cannot possibly put on YouTube, he accused Paglia, and by extension Francis, of submitting the church to the satanic ideology of the secular rulers of the world. From Vigano's rather pointed letter, quote, as shepherd and successor of the apostles, I am unable not to condemn the greatest force Paglia's scandalous words, which contradict the gospel and the teaching of the Roman pontiffs. It is disconcerting that no one among my brothers in the episcopate, and least of all among the members of the College of Cardinals, dares to raise his voice to condemn Paglia's delusional words and call for his immediate resignation from the Pontifical Academy for Life. May the faithful, admonished by good priests, move themselves far away from these wolves in sheep's clothing, and pray to the Lord, asking him to intervene to save his church, occupied by a Sanhedrin of corrupted and twisted men who continue to crucify Jesus Christ in his mystical body. End quote. Wonder what he really thinks. I'll have that letter and all my sources today linked in the show notes at my site, returntotradition.org. Just look for the post with today's date and today's episode title in it, and you'll find it linked there. And by the way, that returntotradition.org is a good backup place to follow this podcast in case something happens to me on this platform. Vigano's letter is too hot for this place, which isn't surprising, all things considered, but this story is linked to the German synodal way in a rather obvious way. The church in Germany was reprimanded by Francis for going it alone and told to wait for the universal church to do essentially what the Germans are asking for, while the head of the synodal way says we should be nice to the German church, despite it going into objective heresy. Let that one move around your brain for a bit. And bear in mind, this is all happening while the Pontifical Academy for Moloch, as I'm going to start calling it, is openly supporting everything that Pontifical Academy was founded to oppose, all of which happens to be supported by the German synodal way. It's like a great circle of deadly logic, all errors linked together. But the only sinful people left in the church now are apparently traditional Catholics, according to the reigning morality in apostate Rome these days. Now, are you surprised by the German synodal way and Rome engaging in overt and, frankly, kind of sad apologetics for it? I mean, be nice to the German bishops? Come on. Are you surprised at all that the Pontifical Academy coming out in defense of the Moloch ritual as part of the fabric of Italian society? Let me know in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It really does help. Hit that bell if you like. Sharing these videos on social media helps a lot as well. YouTube especially likes that, apparently. So as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.